Everybody? We got some weekly Q&A. I think Facebook's taking a second to load here. Um, yeah, so you guys are awesome, and I owe you guys a really big thank you because I've had some people share some really cool wins, and we're just one little tiny group, one little corner of the internet. I haven't even really done a whole bunch of book promotion yet. Um, and we got Barnesy, who signed a new web design client, which is always awesome, especially in COVID when everything's supposed to be hard and you're not supposed to be able to do this. We've got Kyle, as I mentioned earlier in the group, who's signing people into his funnel, cold traffic, converting them into a 5K a month offer and keeping them for like almost 2 years. So that's pretty amazing in and of itself. We got Miro, who just signed a 9K client on one for one on sales calls, and I'll post another one, Brooke, tomorrow, who I believe maybe 10K, I think she signed. And this is pretty amazing too, because I'll tell you, like, obviously I know firsthand, like, people who choose to work with me and, pay money get amazing results, especially because, I choose them very carefully. But it's really, really amazing to me, and it's very humbling when I hear you guys winning who aren't paying me and are still winning. That's kind of amazing just to see that kind of success in the group. And we want to take that obviously a step further and not just sign clients and make it about the sales, but also and keep clients. Like, I've mentioned this before, nobody celebrates the 17th payment from a client, but it's not until you start having 17th payment from clients that you have a real business. And the easy way to tell is if the start of the month means you have to hustle and you have to sell, then you're doing it wrong, and you should be paying attention to that. And if the start of the month means 30 payments are coming in and you get paid before you even start, that's a really good sign. So you want to get in that second situation. Second announcement real quick before we get into the Q&A. I'm doing a little online summit called the Inbox Summit, and I've got a little piece that we haven't gotten on the phone in our agency in like 5 years. Like, it's pretty amazing. It's like, I actually have 2 phone calls scheduled this week. One is for a client. I actually had to schedule it myself because I'm like, hey, I actually kind of just miss talking to you. Let's have a call. And it wasn't about anything in particular other than just like, let's catch up and see how it's going. And then a weekly group call. And it's really, really amazing because people say you got to get on the phone. And I used to get this in SEO. If you guys do SEO, you know what I'm talking about, where I would get a client who would sign up and know that, hey, it's going to take you 6 months to get there, or 8 months, or 10 months, depending on their competition. And then 3 days later, they would go, I just Googled myself and I'm not number one. Please call me immediately. And so it's really hard to run an agency when clients are constantly interrupting you like that. So when you learn to sign them without the phone, there's a powerful frame. Besides that, it's way easier and you get more money, is that it sets the frame of like, hey, I'm not desperate and I don't need to get on the phone with you all the time. And running it is far, far easier. So if you guys are interested in that, it's totally free. I will post a link after the recording of this because I don't have it handy ready to go. All right, Timothy, how do you automate all your prospecting? Well, the short answer, Timothy, is a funnel. The long answer is, if you're asking that question, your funnel is not ready. So, like, for example, in our lawyer funnel, like, I had a webinar and a series of like 10 emails, and the combination of the webinar and those 10 emails closed like 25% of our list into phone calls. Like, and obviously I think we closed like 1 in 3. So like 1 in 12 people on our list would convert. When you have those kind of numbers, you can start taking it to things like LinkedIn and drive traffic to it. You can start taking it to YouTube ads and things like that. But if you're trying to automate it and you don't know your numbers today, which it doesn't sound like you do, you're not going to be able to automate shit. So my suggestion is actually do the opposite. Before you try and automate what's not working, is talk to as many people as you can so that you're automating the proper thing. Because what you'll find is if you talk to enough people, the right offer will present itself, and then you can turn that into to cash for you that can be then automated. But if you try and automate before it's ready, it doesn't work. Bradford, has anyone here used LinkedIn successfully to get new clients? Yes, we have. And to be honest, it's interesting because when I went in the lawyer market, I started getting clients on LinkedIn. Then I switched over to Facebook ads. And once I got Facebook ads automated, went then back to LinkedIn and used everything that was working. I'll tell you a couple of reasons people fail miserably at LinkedIn. One is just the generic copy and paste message that I can tell you're sending to everybody. and doesn't really do much. And then the second reason is just sending me a boring, bland offer. And sometimes they take like 20 sentences to get to the offer. And the flip side of that, some people are not pushy, but they'll send like, hey, let's just talk and see if networking, and you'll end up just in all these phone calls. So you want to be really, really clear and specific about who it's for. Don't think volume, think the right person. If you can talk to 10 people and get at least 3 or 4 of them to say, hey, let's talk about this, then you're on the right track. If it takes more than that, then your offer's broken. So before you do anything, make an offer to like 10 people and see where it goes. And if you don't know what you should be offering them, then you got to get into your market a little more, see what their real issues are. One of the best ways is just read a Facebook group and see what kind of questions they're asking. Kevin, as agency owners, do you write your own Facebook ads or do you bring in a copywriter? If you bring one in, what rates are you paying just for the ad copy, not the management? Kevin, I'm probably a little bit anal personally. I don't outsource my Facebook ads. I like to keep them close to my chest. I'll tell you, usually if you're outsourcing ads, you're doing way too much custom work. So for me, I'm thinking about how can I use one ad and then repeat that like 2,700 times. Like not enough people think about the value of the intellectual property. We actually just got a deal inside for one of our group members, and we had somebody else who had figured out how to generate motorcycle cases and personal injury. And for $450, they're happy to lease us all their landing pages and their copy and all that. So it doesn't cost us anything to write it at all. And that's just one time. We don't have to keep paying it month after month. We still have to like do the ads, like, physically put them in the system and whatnot. But that's an example. It doesn't have to cost nearly as much. So I would suggest, rather than thinking about getting a copywriter, think about leasing someone's intellectual property that's already working, and you'll get farther with your Facebook ads. Being curious, what do you recommend for Yelp and Google reviews? Need some for a few of my clients. This is the secret method. It's called Ask. Not a lot of people use it, especially it sounds like if they need Google and Yelp, they're most likely a brick and mortar. Yelp's a pain in the ass. I've never fully figured out Yelp because they filter so many reviews. But if you basically, in order to get a Yelp review to stick, it has to be from somebody who actually Yelps. But if you ask for enough reviews repeatedly and consistently, and just build it into your process. So how I've done that with a lot of local businesses is like the minute a client is happy, you immediately train their staff to then ask for a review at that exact moment. And because that's the best point in time to do that. And there's usually a point in their process where they're really, really happy, where it's a good time to ask for that. If you leave it up to clients to do themselves, it won't work. So just build asking into their process. Brian, I have a new client that does estimating for commercial painting, drywall contractors. Any recommendations on methods you would use to generate leads? Firstly, I'll answer the question, Brian, in the sense the best two I've found are SEO and Craigslist. A lot of people look for that stuff on Craigslist. You can actually generate a lot of business for people just with Craigslist ads. But I would give you a word of caution. This has been my experience. It took me a lot of years of working with contractors. It's not all of these guys are created equal by any means. You'll get contractors that you literally can't give money to because they'll screw up answering the phone. They don't call people back. They're unprofessional. They don't show up, or they're just drunk on the weekends. You pissed out of their mind drunk. So you don't want to work with those people. And one of the biggest telltale signs is, do they do the contracting themselves, or do they have a more real business where they're doing more of the sales, the estimating, or managing people? If they're doing the second, that's a very good sign that you're not dealing with a contractor, drywaller, painter, roofer kind of mentality. Those people are really hard to make money for, in my experience, because they're not entrepreneurial. So before you get in bed with one of those people, I would try a small first date, but make sure they're actually have a real business, because otherwise, in my experience, it'll be a whole lot of waste of your own time. Michael, I have a client moving into my area, and they are looking for a list of all the hoods with pools and HOA contact information. Does anyone know where to purchase a list for that? Michael, I've never actually bought that exact list, but there's a company called Info USA that sells direct mail lists, and you don't have to use it for direct mail if you just want to use a list to figure out who's who, but they will more than likely have that information for you. And as far as I can remember the last time I used it, there's no brokerage fees. So you can buy that. You just tell them who you're looking for. They'll give you a quote and you buy it. It's not very expensive either. So I would suggest them, Info USA. Matt, what is better, client SEO or affiliate SEO? Pros and cons to both, Matt. Especially when you're first beginning, I would say it's better to get client SEO because it's nice to have steady payments while you're learning this. But as you get better and better, your own stuff is always going to pay you more money. So, affiliate SEO is obviously going to be better, especially too because you don't have to make reports and answer to people, and you can try more things. Like for me, I used to try a lot of black hat things on the side. I used to have a whole server that ran a piece of software called Xroomer that just spammed forums back in the day. And I would never, ever in a million years use that on a client. But for my own little affiliate site or blog or something that I'm not worried about losing, I can try things like that. So that's another benefit to doing it on your own is you can make mistakes and, just try and rig the game. But, if you're starting out, build a steady base of people paying you and then start building your own side contracts. I would when you're first building a Beyond agency, it's the same thing. You're getting paid for your work, and that can be a little intimidating because, you don't get a steady monthly payment, but you actually make far, far more. I would say on average, we're getting clients 10 to 100 grand, which you would never get as a monthly payment. But when you do it for a share of profits, it's far, far easier to do. So yeah, so that's my 2 cents on that. Start with client SEO, finish with your own affiliate SEO. May, does anyone actually here use reach or brand awareness campaigns? I don't really see the benefit, but maybe I'm missing something. May, for 99% of the world, brand and reach campaigns are useless. There are situations where they do get used. One of those examples is I have a lot of e-commerce friends, and they're sometimes testing on average 5 to 10 products a day. And the easiest way they'll test it is real cheap. They'll run a little $10 reach campaign, and they're looking for comments of people say, oh, I want to buy those. Where can I get one? And if they do that, they know they have a winner. But a big part of their thing is just testing ideas really, really quickly. And so they use a lot of reach campaigns. Once they know that that product has been validated, they'll almost always switch to a conversion campaign like everybody else. But in the start, they actually do use a lot of reach and brand campaigns. So it's not 100% useless, but for most of the world it is. Daniel, do you find cold email effective in your outreach? Yes, Daniel. And I'll tell you, people who don't usually have shitty offers. If you're sending the same email that everybody else, hi, my name is, there's almost a template to the cold outreach where people, you can tell they're selling something and they're selling it poorly. It almost always starts with, hi, my name is, and I'm from company XYZ. I just showed my Canadianness. It should be XYZ if you're American. But yeah, so they always kind of give away, and before they've even told you what they have for sale, you know that there's something for sale because they've introduced themselves that way. And then they'll say, the reason I'm contacting you today is because of blah, 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 and they'll make some boring generic offer. And the templates we've got in the group work far, far better. And this is kind of I didn't invent all of this, so I don't get to take all the credit, but Dean Jackson used to have a thing where they used to reach out to companies, they used to do birthday mailers for restaurants. And the first thing they would do is they would reach out to the restaurant and say, can you guys handle any more birthday parties? Now that's a very different message than, hi, my name is Dean Jackson, and I'm from company XY, ZZ, and the reason I'm contacting you today is because I want to know if you'd be interested in buying our birthday campaigns. Right? Nobody's interested in that. If you're offering birthday campaigns, nobody cares. But if they ask if they have openings, they say, yeah. Then he switches and says, well, the reason I'm contacting you is I've got this campaign that's worked for a lot of other restaurants to fill people up for birthday campaigns. I would be happy to send you a test campaign for free, and you can just pay me after it works. Would you be interested in that kind of arrangement? And he found they could get more than 50% of the restaurants from cold email in today's world, even in this crazy Corona economy, to say yes. So usually if your cold outreach is not working, you're either just sending it to the wrong person, or more than likely just have the same generic, boring offer that everybody else has. And I'll give you a little tip on that. If as long as you're selling to humans, new will beat. I've heard that before every time. And so, like when Dean Jackson reaches out, he may be offering Google AdWords like everybody else or Facebook ads for his restaurant. But if he reaches out with that first, they're not going to be very interested. So he has to come in with the birthday campaign and something that's new that they haven't heard before, that they're not being offered by 1,000 other people. If what you're offering, other people are offering too, then you're going to have a really hard time selling it. So that's a little pro tip: is new always outsells. I've heard that before. And that's it. I guess that's all the questions we got for this week. So I will post a link for you guys for the Inbox Summit. Again, it's free. This is how we're signing up clients without any, phone calls or meetings or chasing or proposal sending. Like I literally just do this in my inbox. I just have an incoming email. They get tagged in Gmail, so I know which conversations are like people trying to give me money, and then we do a little back and forth and close them just like that. And you can do that when you have like a really cool offer, like Dean Jackson. I used the restaurant example. Probably isn't calling hundreds of restaurants to try and sell this campaign. They're coming to him and saying, "Yes, I would be interested in that." So hope that makes sense for you guys. I'll post a link. Check that out. I would love for you guys to watch my free training. It's an hour and 20 minutes, but it is damn worth it. And then I guess I will catch you guys later and see you next week. And also, I'll post a link below because I'm posting the replays of all this stuff on YouTube. So if there's a question that you want to look back on the answer, I've got a list of those on all the YouTube channels and all the replays. It's nothing exciting. I'm not trying to build out the world's greatest YouTube channel. It's just a small little place for us to catch the replays here. But if you're interested in that, I will post a link. So anyways, much love, you guys. And keep sharing me your wins because I love this stuff. I love hearing how you guys are making shit happen.